The older I get, the more I cherish the quiet moments in my life. There's something soothing about tranquility. I often prefer doing chores without the distraction of music or other media. It feels as if I'm in the moment and aware of my surroundings. Our world is filled with so much noise. We humans are not used to silence anymore. Silence, on the other hand, is relative and can be perceived very differently. There will never be no sounds in our daily life. No matter where you are, there's always some background noise, but some is more pleasant than other. To me, it feels like the further I get away from civilization, the more beautiful the soundscape becomes. Noise becomes enjoyable sounds, like the rippling of a flowing stream or the rustling of leaves in the wind. Nature in general is my healing resort. Here you realize how much noise is surrounding us in our everyday life. Suddenly, all the soft and subtle sounds come to the fore again. You hear all the different birds. In the first moment rather the louder ones, in the second then all the quiet ones. Your mind is slowly becoming aware of the complexity of our world again. It becomes open for the inconspicuous things. But also during my daily life I enjoy the subtle sounds, like a pen gliding over paper, or the purring of my cats. Most of the time, the soft and subtle sounds are drowned by the noise of our modern world. Traffic and machines play a big part in this matter. Although I live in a rural area, traffic noise can be intense, especially this made by planes and cars. But there's also all this other background noise in our daily life, like flushing the toilet, the heating burner, the vacuum, the fridge, the fans of the computer, construction work, or loud neighbors, and these are just a few examples. Our modern daily life is flooded with so much commotion that we become more and more desensitized to gentle sounds. A lot of people even can't stand it being in quiet places. To me, that's never been the case. When I was younger, I got rather overwhelmed by big cities and the noisy soundscape there. I've never been much of an extrovert. I've never been much interested in parties or clubs. I didn't understand the concept of numbing your senses with alcohol and deafening music in order to have fun. It never made much sense to me. Being in large, noisy crowds drains a lot of my energy. I'd rather spend my time learning new skills or creating things, being with my family or good friends. I'm sure a lot of people would call this lifestyle boring or call me a party pooper, but I've always tried to listen to my inner self and what feels right to me. I guess being different or being interested in different things than the majority also implicates being the odd one out and therefore spending more time on your own. But I'm totally fine with that. Being by myself leads to more quiet moments and thus to more inner peace. I still remember the time I lived in the city. Our flat was located on the 5th floor in a quite trafficked area. We used to live near the train station, where there was a lot of freight traffic. The train passing our house sometimes lasted up to a few minutes. This was especially disturbing during nighttime. I also remember my sister and I spending the nights at my grandparents' house. She lives directly on the main road, and even at night the traffic noise was roaring. Nevertheless, her backyard faced a more quiet area. It was a beautiful garden, surrounded by trees that acted as a shield against the noise. It almost felt like a green oasis amidst the urban jungle. In our flat, you basically heard every sound the neighbors made. People lowering the shutter, banging doors, taking a bath or showering, playing or learning instruments, talking or arguing with each other. It was a very cramped, noisy soundscape. I remember the times when my grandmother took my sister and me to the forest, to the botanic garden, or to the mountains. These have always been my favorite trips because of all the different sounds, sights and smells. I heard insects, running water, rustling trees and grass, saw all the different colors and smelled the country air. I'm sure these are core memories because I kept them in my head in such a detailed version. And I'm sure they forever shaped my perception of a peaceful life. I'm grateful to live in a more rural area now, and I'm aware that a lot of people do not have the opportunity to live like that. But like I mentioned before, even in or around cities you find relatively quiet places, like parks or botanic gardens. As I also mentioned before, living in the countryside does not necessarily mean living in a quiet area. The noise level here can be intense, so the key to quiet moments is to actively create them, to actively turn down the volume, set aside your smartphone, and pause. I'm sure it can be quite a challenge to incorporate quiet moments in our noisy modern world. There's work, chores, social media or media in general. Maybe you're lacking time or you're just not used to silence anymore. But it's so important for our mental health. It helps you to focus on your inner world and improves your awareness. It reduces stress and improves your creativity, as well as your ability to concentrate. Studies also show that certain hormones are released and certain areas in our brain are activated, depending on the acoustic environment. A consistently loud acoustic level causes the release of the stress hormones adrenaline and cortisol. Our body goes into an alert mode, constantly ready to react. Relative silence, on the other hand, stimulates a certain area in our brain, called the default mode network. Among other things, this network activates daydreaming, creativity, and emotions. To implement quiet moments into your daily life, you can start very slow, like spending 2 minutes in a relatively silent room. Maybe you can also visit a cafe, library, museum, park, or go into nature. Closing your eyes can also help to focus. Soon you will hear all the subtle sounds again, and recognize the different shades of the soundscape surrounding you. It will ground and soothe you as soon as you get engaged with it. If you integrate small time slots of silence into your everyday life, you will quickly notice the positive effect on your body and mind. If it does you good, you can gradually increase the time slots and, for example, skip the music and put your smartphone aside while doing housework or sports. I definitely prefer quiet moments over all the hustle and bustle. I've more or less always been a quiet person. Maybe you got a harder time when you're not used to silence anymore. As soon as you realize the inner peace and tranquility it brings, you don't want to miss the quiet moments anymore.